My Lords, it's a pleasure to follow the Noble Earl Attlee, who's very clearly carefully applied himself to the details, both in his speech and instruction. And I thank the Noble Lord Faulkner for so ably introducing the bill. I have the misfortune not to have a special connection to the Malvern Hills. I've been a visitor there a number of times, but I have had representations from people who are very concerned about their future, who asked me to speak today. They are passionate about the future of the hills, and they support this bill and the way forward. And I think one of the points that's really important, as the Noble Lord Faulkner stressed, is that this is a charity, and it is under the governance of the Charity Commission, which is something we know is really important to keeping a sense of direction, of bodies following their aims. I do have to reflect briefly on the question of why are we here in Westminster debating this bill? According to Google Maps, it would take us 1 day and 20 hours to walk to the top of the Malvern Hills. I don't think I'd do it in that time myself, but that's the maximum record. It would take more than 4 hours by public transport. That being about 120 miles, it means the average speed's 30 miles per hour, which is something of an indictment of the public transport. But nonetheless, the question is, why do we have a system of government that means that we're here in Westminster debating the future of a local area? Wouldn't it be much better if this debate was local people having the debate in that local area? But we are where we are, and we have to do the best we can, and that is what Noble Lords are doing. I think there's a couple of points that I particularly wanted to make. Noble Lord Faulkner has outlined so much that I'm not going to go over anything like all the ground the Noble Lord did. But I think it is really important to make the point about the reduction in the number of trustees from 29 to 12. And that figure is the maximum number generally recommended by the Charity Governance Code and the Charity Commission guidance. And I think most Noble Lords in this chamber and elsewhere will have found themselves on many governing bodies, trusts, boards, etc. over the years, and I think 12 is actually a very large board, and we know how difficult decision-making can be in those sorts of situations. And I think it's also really important to stress that if the bill is enacted in its current form, the proportion of elected trustees increases from 38% to 50%. I think this is a modernisation, a moving forward. That's the overall direction of the bill. For an area that sees 1.25 million visitors a year, according to University of Bristol figures. Now, it is worth noting, and many people have commented on what good state the hills, the Malvern Hills, are in. I did look this up. The word Malvern derives from the Celtic Malbryn, bare hill. That's obviously a historic name, but we know that we live in one of the most nature-depleted. We can do better by those so many visitors, and we know what importance green spaces are to the public health, to make those spaces as good as they can be for visitors, for the farmers, for the communities. This is an attempt to make a step forward, a modernisation. Ideally, we would not be doing this here at all, but given this is the rules we operate under, I support the direction of this bill.